Hello and welcome to this video, guys. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a film stock that in the past I was a little bit apprehensive to shoot, but now that I've put a couple rolls through one of my cameras, I think it's a film stock that more people should try out, and that is Kodak Ektachrome E100. So to take all of these photos, I use the Nikon F3 with the 50mm f1.4, the 28mm f2.8D, and this guy right here. This is the Tokina 100mm f2.8 macro. So I shot a total of 2 rolls of this film stock that I'll be showing in this video, and those rolls were shot in Las Vegas, around my house, around my parents' house, in the city that I live in a bunch of different lighting conditions, so I could get a better sense of how the film would react, and so I could show you guys how best you can shoot the film and the results that you could expect from this film stock. So the first thing that I want to talk about is actually a tip that you can use to shoot this film stock. So Kodak advertises this as a 100 speed film. It's Ektachrome E100. However, I was reading a blog post by Burke. He's an amazing photographer, shoots a lot of stuff on film, and uses slide film a lot for his photos. And one of the things that he mentioned in one of his blog posts about Ektachrome 100 is that he thinks the true speed of the film is closer to 80 or even 64. And so that is the first tip that I can give you, is shoot this film at 80 ISO. The first roll that I shot, I exposed it at 100, and the second roll that I shot it at 80 ISO. Now, does the film stock look bad shooting at ISO 100? No, by any means it does not. By shooting it at 80, you are overexposing it or giving it a third of a stop more light. And I really don't think it hurts the film at all to give it just a little bit more light than Kodak advertises that it might need. Interested in the blog post by Alex, I'll leave that linked in the description below. He goes into a lot of detail about the film stock itself, regarding the colors, the dynamic range, obviously the ISO, and he shows a bunch of examples comparing Ektachrome 100 to different Fujifilm slide film stocks. So the next thing that I want to talk about are the pros of this film stock. I'm looking at my notebook right here because I do have a handful of things written down. The first thing being the dynamic range of the film stock. Now, I looked online and I couldn't find an official number for the exact amount of stops of dynamic range that this film stock has, but what I can say, in my experience, it has a lot of latitude. There's a lot of information that's hidden in the shadows and that's kept in the highlights. I scanned all the film here at my house. The film itself has beautiful colors. In my experience, it kind of tends to lean a little bit greenish or coolish, but for me, that's not an issue at all. I always add a little bit of green in the shadows or in the midtones in my digital images, so this film just naturally having kind of a green cast is honestly a plus for me because I just love the way that green looks in my images. So while it does tend to lean a little bit green, it still does an amazing job at rendering the other colors. The reds, the greens, the blues, the oranges, the pinks, and the purples all look so good on this film stock. Since it's a slide film, it's very, very sharp and there really isn't much grain. I'll zoom into a couple pictures so you can see the amount of detail that you can get from these images, as well as the sharpness that the film has. Overall, before I went into shooting Kodak Ektachrome, I was a little bit scared because slide film I feel like can be very intimidating because generally speaking it does have less dynamic range than, say, a color negative film, but I think Kodak Ektachrome really changes that. It's the amount of latitude, like I mentioned earlier, that this film has. It almost feels like a color negative film. There's just so much detail that can be pulled out of the darker areas and the brighter areas, and so if you haven't shot this film, I would highly suggest shooting it because I really don't think you'll be disappointed with the results that you'll get. Now, the only con I can really think about with this film stock is just the price. It's pretty expensive. I'll put the exact number on the screen. I can't really remember. I think it's around $20-ish. But slide film in general is just pretty expensive. I do have a video that I have planned about how this film stock can be shot for a more affordable price. So I'm working on that, but I just want to shoot more slide film so I can have more examples and just another video that I can make about the film. But yeah, that really is the only con, in my opinion, with this, is just how expensive it can be. I guess another thing that could be mentioned is getting it developed. You know, if you go to a smaller place, you know, they might not develop E6 film, but if you send your film to a larger lab, you know, there's a very good chance that they do develop E6 film, or if they don't, they probably have some sort of a partnership with another lab that does develop E6 film. That's another thing. The developing for E6 film can also be more expensive than with a color negative film. So that just adds to the, you know, the original con is buying the film is a little bit more expensive, and sometimes developing the film can also be pretty expensive. I really wanted to just make a video where I could show some of the images that I've shot, give some pros, give some cons, give a tip about exposing the film stock, and generally just like try to encourage anyone that's watching this to shoot the film, because I think it's such an amazing film. And like I mentioned earlier, you know, it's definitely something that I was a little bit nervous to shoot, a little apprehensive to shoot, because, you know, with slide film, it generally has less dynamic range, you know, and shooting a film stock that's already more expensive than the other ones and potentially getting bad results made me stay away from this film for a really long time. I've shot other slide film before. My only other experiences with Provia 100 in 120. I shot some landscapes last summer. I'll put some of those on screen. And Provia, in my experience, does have less dynamic range than Kodak Ektachrome. So if you are someone that is worried about you know, potentially messing up images, I would definitely say Ektachrome 100 is the film stock that you should try, or the slide film stock that you should try, because of the results that you can get from it. I do have some Ektachrome 100 in 120, and so I want to find the right time to pull that out and shoot it in this camera. This is my Yashica Matte 124G. So I am planning a video on that. Oh, I also have a video coming out about this lens on here. This is the 35-70. I think it's like the best kit lens ever made. I just released a video about this guy, which is the Fujifilm GFX 50S2. That video came out last week, I believe. And I think next week the video about the 35-70 will also be coming out. So if you are interested, please consider subscribing to the channel. I have like way too many videos planned. I have like a whole schedule, a whole calendar of which videos are coming out on which day. So if you are interested in seeing more of my work and more of my videos, please consider subscribing to the channel so you know whenever I post a video. And I think at this point I'm gonna start wrapping up the video. If you are interested in checking out more of my work, I'll leave my Instagram and my website in the description below, as well as the link to Alex's blog post about Ektachrome 100. There's a lot of really good information in that if you want to learn more about the slide film. And on that note, I'm going to end it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.